Teal dear, Tumblr is starting to affect, or should I say, infect, the real world. But never fear, because Teal dear is here to redress the balance. Let's look at how I'm going to do that, shall we? So it looks like the New York City underground system has caved into this manspreading nonsense that's been going on over the last couple of weeks. And as we can see from these signs that they have issued, they have taken it upon themselves to turn this into a gendered issue as opposed to a generic message to the public. As we can see here from their sign that reads, "Dude, stop the spread, please. It's a space issue." Now, I would naturally welcome any incentive that would encourage people to be more aware of their surroundings and more conscious of those around them. However, considering they've decided to make this into a gendered issue whereby it's only men who should be aware of their surroundings and not anyone else, I have decided to mock up a few other signs that I would like to see implemented on their underground system. So I've started off with a slightly more generic message, something a little bit more suitable for all people on transit as opposed to just men. As we can see here, it is a nice simple message: leave space for other passengers. Thank you. Which seems like an entirely reasonable sentiment to me. But you know what, I think we can go a little bit better with this. How about we give Tumblr a little bit of credit where credit's due and stick that little manspreading hashtag on there. There we go. That makes it look a little bit more interesting, doesn't it? I really think that means that people can hunt down the origins of this phenomenon and find out for themselves where and how it all began. But I think that this one is somewhat lacking that gendered punch that the previous one had. The one that they have, where it starts with dude. It just makes it sound like they're targeting one very distinct gender, and I think we need to balance the scales here. So I have done just that. So why don't we address a phenomenon that we're all suitably familiar with? So let's maybe try this one. Girl, your bags don't need a seat. It's a space issue. And of course that naturally comes with the hashtag womanspreading, which seems to make perfect sense, doesn't it? Because we're trying to balance the gender scales here, as we always should be. And of course we are going after a choice made by individuals here as well as to how they utilize the space around them, so this would seem to be a reasonable counterpoint, I think. But I wouldn't want to be considered an oppressive shitlord only going after able-bodied thin people, so let's expand this out a little bit, shall we, with this one. People, stop spreading. We need that space. It's a space issue. And obviously, as we can see from the gloriously cellulite-ridden individual, that this is quite obviously targeting people who are perhaps a little bit more, rotund in their nature. Because after all, this is a personal choice made by people as to how they utilize the space immediately around them, so I think making them aware of their encroachment into the personal space of others is a very important issue that we could be tackling here. And of course, just like all the other ones, it does naturally deserve its own hashtag, so we have given it that one of the hashtag fatspreading. So where does the sense of decency leave this topic? Just how far are we willing to police the personal choices of every individual in public places? Because in this day and age, with personal space becoming ever more precious to everyone around us, it seems entirely reasonable that we can in fact put no limits on how we feel regarding our own sense of safety and security, especially in regards to our own personal space. So I've mocked up another couple of signs that I really think should be introduced on the New York Underground, such as this one. Prego, your baby is bulging into passengers' space. It's a space issue, which naturally comes with its very own hashtag, pregspreading. Because after all, pregnancy is a personal choice made by an individual, so they have voluntarily taken up more space than they would have done otherwise, which naturally means we have to call attention to it and shame them for it. But you know what? I think we can still go better than this. How about we not only address physical space that people take up, but how about we also address the personal choices of other people that invade, say, our auditory personal space and our olfactory personal space? And I have attempted to do just that with this sign. Woman, your babies are loud and annoying. It's a space issue, which naturally comes with the hashtag mumspreading. Because I'm sure we have all been in that situation where we have just had a baby trapped with us either on a plane, on a train, or in a restaurant or some other means of public place, and they just yell and they scream and they smell atrocious. And that's before you've even got to the diarrhea and the projectile vomiting. So naturally, I think it's entirely reasonable that we should call attention to this gross invasion of other people's space, not only physically, but audibly and olfactorily, and that we should not only call attention to the personal choices of the individuals that led up to this, but that we should also shame them for doing so. Now, for those of you out there who are sarcasm impaired, and it seems to be a worrying number of social justice warriors and feminists, yes, I am joking. And much as I don't want to throw in a slippery slope fallacy here, but seriously, where does this sort of nonsense end? Not only do you gender a problem that is in fact completely ungendered, because trust me, I have seen a large number of women on public transport sitting not only with their knees absolutely akimbo, but in some cases they cross their legs over in such a way that the knees meet, and then the leg that is raised over has the foot right in the middle of the aisle of the train. How is that not a gross invasion of other people's space? This is a ridiculous campaign and should be absolutely treated as such. It should be mocked and derided for just how stupid it is. By all means, make people more aware of their surroundings, encourage people to be more conscientious of others, but do not ever dare to presume that it is only one gender who is responsible for being self-centered and disregarding other people.